3. I want you to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want you to create 5 packages. Okay, 5 packages. The packages names are going to be com.android, com.building, com.building.commercial, com.building.residential, and finally com.exam. So create those 5 packages from this. Yeah. Okay. Okay. A minute. Okay. So and you those and go eat. Time for lunch. Yeah. Now I'll just get them up here again myself. So we have com.android, com.building, then we have new package com.building, and it's frozen. Now I changed a file, the third file, it'll be section 1.1c, ABC. I had to change that because I was downloading Game of Thrones and it was coming up that I was downloading, which is illegal. So that's fine. Okay? So I don't want illegal activity to be on a video file. Is that okay? So, building that commercial. And I have another one, building that residential. So com.building.residential. And we have one more, com.exam. Now, these are empty packages, okay? So there's nothing inside them. So sorry I wasn't clear at that point. So if you click on them, there's nothing in them, okay? So they're empty. So nothing will appear up here, all right? Everyone okay with that? Okay, I should do straight at that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be putting files into these packages. Okay, so go to com.android, and I want us to create a main class there, please, and a main method inside it as well. So I have a main and public static void main. So now you see there's something inside com.android. Now, I want you to create another class. I want you to call this class dates.
In package?
In the same package, okay?
Would you call that class?
Main. Okay? Main. Right, so I'll write them all down. Do you know, that's the best thing. So I'm in com.android. Okay? So create a class called main. Create a class called dates. And create a class called annual exam. So create those all inside com.android. Yeah. So new class dates finish and new class annual exam. There's our three classes done. Okay. Now, so that's inside com.android, main, dates, and annual exam. Next one is going to be in com.building. Okay. Okay, I made a mistake here. Alright, I made a mistake in the spelling. Be very, very careful with the spelling for these guys. But make sure com.building. Okay, dot commercial. Now that means that dot commercial is a sub package of com.building. I made a spelling mistake in com.building here of com.building or whatever that is. So I need to change that. So if you want to change the name of a file or the name of a package, so I'm going to show you this now. So if you want to change the name of a file or the name of a package, you right click on it, you go to refactor and you go rename. Okay, so I'm going to change that to com.build. Okay. I need to create, I changed the name of the wrong one. Okay, so I need to create com.building again. New package, sorry about that. New package, it's com.building. Right, now, so in com.building, you're going to have two classes inside it. Okay, so on com.building, you're going to have a multi-story, and you're going to have a skyscraper. Okay, com.building. So I'm going to put in a multi-story. Skyscraper. And a multi-story. Okay. Now, it's a multi-story and skyscraper. Now the next one is com.building.commercial. Com.building.commercial. We're going to put in factory. We're going to put in another multi-story. Okay. Make sure same spelling. Make sure it's the same case. And we're going to put in office. This is in com.building.commercial. So factory, multi-story, and office. This is in com.building.commercial. Here, new class, factory, new class, multi-story, and lastly office. Yeah, which is 2 more packages to go. So the next package is com.building.residential. So click on new, class. So we're going to have bungalow. And then we're going to have semi-detached. And the next one, we're in com.exam. You're going to have exam question you're going to have exam question 2. We're going to have test. We're going to have test 2. We're going to have test 3. Com.exam, new, class, exam question, new, class, exam question 2, and then test, class, test, finish, new, class, test 2 and test 3, new, class, test 3. So this is just going over packages again, but it's going into a little bit more detail. Okay. Now I'm going to go all the way back to main. So exam question 2, test 2, and test 3.
Actually, in commercial and residential, multi-story, yes? No.
Yeah, so
Just in buildings.
well, in building with multi-story and skyscraper. In com.building.commercial, we have factory, multi-story, and office. So we have multi-story in 2 different packages. Okay. Now we're not really going to have anything in any of these files. We're just showing you how to import stuff from one thing to another. Now, so let me get rid of this. So if you just go to the book for a minute. Go to page 41. Now, so this is import other Java packages to make them accessible in your code. Okay, import other Java packages to make them accessible in our code. So this is, I'm going to put this in our So I'm going to put this comment in our code. So just give me a second. So I've just finished some recordings here. So go back to the code. So in main, so I'm going to put on the exam objective. So exam objective 1.4 import other packages to make them accessible. Now, so the different types of imports. So this one. So import com.building dot residential. That means it's going to import bungalow and semi-detached. Yes, everyone understand that? So what does this do? This imports all classes from the com.building. Sorry, that should be a longer comment. All the classes the com.building.residential package. Okay. Now that's an error. So just look at that there. So com.building.residential. If you have it like that, that's an error. Because residential is not a class. You have to say dot star all. Okay? That means it's going to import all of the classes from that package. Okay? You can't just say I'm going to import a package. Okay? That's a mistake. Because it's missing the dot and it's missing the all. Everyone with me so far, yeah? Right. Now, that will import everything from the residential package. Let's just say we want to import an individual class. I will do that as the following. You go import. So let's say I want to import a commercial, the factory building. A factory class. So import com.building.commercial.factory. Now that's allowed because this is importing a class. Okay? This is just importing factory class. Now, so I'm going to go on to the next one here. So I do this one. Import com.building. Now, this imports. Now, even though com.building.commercial or com.building.residential is a subclass or a subpackage of com.building, it doesn't import all its subclasses. Okay, this guy This only imports the classes in the com.building package. So it only imports multi-story and skyscraper. Now, now here we come to, we're going to show you a couple of issues that can happen. Well, for a start, anyway, so I am going to go to the dates package, or the dates class. Now dates is in com.android. It's all the way back here. By the way, if you can't see all of your files, okay, if you can't see all of your files, the very end here you're going to see something like this. And like it says 3, it might say 4 in yours. That means there's 3 files here that you can't see. Just click on that little button there, and there's other files you can't see. So just go to dates for a minute, please. Now, we've already done dates. Remember dates? Yeah? So local dates are this way. Local date. So this is in the date class. And that uses something called a local date. Yeah? Okay. Now, the older form of date were quite simply called this guys. They were called this guys. There was date. I call it old date. Okay. Date, old date. So sure, that's now. Don't import anything yet for date, old date. Right. Put your mouse over it. You'll see that there's 2 options appearing. Okay. Do that again. You can either import java.sql, or there's a class called date in java.util. Now they are 2 different things. Okay. This date is to do with your databases. Okay. Dates are very important with databases. We won't really be covering them in this course, but we probably will be doing a bit. Okay, so this is dates to do with your databases. This is dates that were the old way of doing dates. So what you have here is you have 2 classes of the same name. Now that brings a kind of a unique sort of issue. Now I'm going to import this one here.
The second one?
Yeah, I'll do that again. So I'm going to put my mouse over it. I'm going to import the first one. Okay? Yeah. So that means this. Now, what is this? Just to say what it is. This was the old way for creating dates in Java. It used a class called date. Okay? And you have to import from the import using the import java.util.date statement. Okay. Now, however, I'm going to comment out this guy. Okay, so I have imported this guy. I'll just say what this is. This was the class used for dates prior to Java 8. You can still use this method to create dates in current version of Java. Now, I think you've been made to use these things here because they're very, very difficult to use. But you can use them, okay? It's all about backwards compatibility. It's all to do with it. If there was something that was compiled in Java 5, it should still run in Java 8. Okay, it's all about backwards compatibility. Now, but they're a nightmare to use. It's as simple as that. I would never advise anyone to use them. Just pain in the arse to use. Now, so that means when I go date, all date, it's going to go to this class, which is inside this package, which is inside another package called Java. That's a package, class. That's what that is. Okay? So it goes to that class, it sees it contains date, so then you'll be able to create dates with this thing here. Okay? Now, I'm going to comment out this guy. Okay?
So the local date is actually some command from Java time local date, yes?
Yeah.
It's actually like command.
It's we'll say this is a package, we'll say this is a package, this is a class. Okay? It's actually an interface, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean, what we need to use local date.
Yeah, local date. Well, you can, if you want to use date, you can. But I'm not going to tell you how to use them because, do you know what? I forgot how to use them. It was so painful.
No, it's no problem.
Yeah.
It's like command.
Yeah. Okay. So now I go date, all date. I've commented out this guy here. Okay. So it doesn't know what date is. So if I put my mouse over it again and I import java.sql. Okay. There it is up there. I'll put it down here to show you the two of them together. Alright, so now this is no longer a date for Java. This is dates in a database. Okay, it's all to do with dates and times. Dates and times in the old version of Java were called dates. Why they called it that, I don't know. Okay, so if you're dealing with dates and times in your database, and you want them to be compatible with Java, you use something called java.sql.date. Now that is still used. Okay, that is still used. Now, if I do this, I get an error. Why have I an error there?
Date in two separate like.
It doesn't know which one it is. Okay, if you're trying to import two classes of the same name but from different packages, you can't. It's as simple as that.
You think you should because you've got util and SQL.
Yeah.
They're different.
No, but you see here, you can't use the shortened version. I can't then just go date all date because it doesn't know is it a java.utl date or java.sql date. It doesn't know which one it is. Okay, so you can't have both. But you are going to come across situations when you want to use a date, this guy, and an SQL date. So how would you use both of them in the one class?
Put all the way older.
Yeah. What you do is, right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say import java utl.date. Okay? So that means that this date here is that. Okay? And what you do is you use the fully qualified name. You go java.util.date my date is equal to new java.ut. It's the wrong one, sorry. The wrong one. It's the wrong one. It's java.sql.date. My date is equal to new java.sql.date.
Java from lowercase.
Lowercase, yeah, that's it. Okay, now let me see. Okay, and it's uppercase D as well. Now let's see what's wrong there. No, you have to put a thing inside it. Okay, it has to take a 0. Now, that's the only way you can create two classes that have the same name but come from different packages. Okay, that's why I was talking about the multi-story car park. Okay, that's why I have multi-story here and I have multi-story here. So what I want you to do is, I'm going to say that first. Okay, I want you to go into main. And I want you to import one of the multi-stories classes. Okay, so either import that one or that one. I don't care which one you import. Don't care which one you import. And I want you to create me a multi-story of that type and a multi-story of that type. Give it a go. So I want you to import one of the classes completely. And then I want you to create a multi-story of that type and a multi-story of that type. How do I know this? I'll show you what I did here. Okay, so as I've said, we've got a multi-story car park. Okay, we've got a multi-story in the building class. We've got a multi-story in the commercial class. Okay, now, so first of all, I'll show you what not to do. Now, so import com.building. Okay, that means I can create a multi-story from the com.building by simply going freezing, unfreezing. Thanks. Okay, right. So import com.building. That means we can create a skyscraper and we can create a multi-story from that package. Okay. The only one I'm concerned about, the only one I care about, is the multi-story. So I can go multi-story, and I'm going to call it multi1 is equal to new multi-story multi-story. Okay. So what is this one? This is creating a multi-story from the com.building package. Okay. We have imported all of the files, all of the classes from this package with the import com.building zipped. Now, one thing we can do is this. So, we'll show you what not to do. Okay? So that imports com.building. That's going to import everything. Okay? From the com.building class. Now, if I did this, import com dot building dot commercial dot multi-story. Okay. Now let me just see. Oh bollocks! Why isn't this causing an error?
You spell building wrong. You know the fuck.
Where?
Oh,
Oh, here.
yeah.
Yeah. It is too. Fuck it. Yeah. Thanks. See what I mean? My spelling is important. So it's com.building. No, still something wrong here. What does it know? Which one is which? Just give me a second here now. Yeah. I must have multi-story spelled wrong as well. I'd say. Well, let me see now. multistory. multistory. Okay, I've done something simple and something wrong. So I copy paste this one. Get rid of this one. Yeah.
So you imported Taiwan.
Huh? No, I've. So it's com.building, com.commercial.
You're trying to find why it's not there.
Yeah.
Actually, we imported only one full class, package.
Yeah, I
Buildings, but we not imported like buildings commercial. So it's only one with story.
No, that's not the reason. It's com.building.commercial.factory, com.building.residential.
We don't have commercial.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
So it will be no two.
no, that doesn't make the difference, right? That should be generating an error there, okay? Because com.building will import this guy. com.building.commercial.multistory will import this guy. Alright? So when I go multi-story, multi is equal new multi-story, it doesn't know which one is which. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't see why that's happening.
Maybe because we imported exactly class, not like package. So it's in priority.
No. Didn't work that way. Because I have it done out here. That's exactly what's happening. So, let me just see now.
Yes, if I will import commercials here instead of commercial multi-story.
Yeah.
It's the same priority.
Yeah. Hold on a second now. No, because I'm just looking at the code here. Fuck it. Okay, and multi-story commercial. Dot building. Dot. Okay, that's introducing the error. Okay, don't know why I had to do that now because I'm just looking at it here. Anyway, what's wrong here is that it doesn't know which multi-story to use. Because I'm importing com.building multi-story here, not com.building.commercial.multi-story here. So it's two different multi-stories in different packages. So you can't import both of them. Okay? So you can only import one of them. Right? So I'm importing all of that class. And then if I want to have this multi-story, which is the one in the com.building.commercial, you have to go like so. So it's com.building.commercial.multi-story long multi is equal to next new com.building commercial multi-story. Okay, so can't import two classes of the one name from different packages. So what you do is, so you import one of the classes and use the long form when creating an object of the other class. Okay, this is what's called a short form.
Right.
Yeah.
I imported building and imported building commercial. So I have no error on them.
Yeah.
But I have error only on multi-story.
Yeah, that's still something. The principle is the same on. Okay, so it's just small thing. The principle is what's wrong here is this is importing the multi-story. The multi-story class from the com.building package, which then means we can use the short form to create this multi-story.
Okay. You see, in different multi-story, you have like different
constructors
classes added.
Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll in com.building, okay, I'm going to put a constructor in here so we're able to see what's created. So inside, so this is com.building. So the constructor inside the multi-story inside com.building. So this is going to be this way. So com.building multi-story. Okay, that's that multi-story. We're looking at this multi-story here. Same thing again. So this is going to say com.building.commercial multi-story. So we should clearly be able to see the two multi-stories being created. Okay. Back to my main.
Well, just on line 31 there, it says again, it should be fast.
Yeah, where's this in?
In the main there, we were
line 30.
31. 31.
Yeah, can't. Thanks, Kim. Okay, you have to make the constructors on both the multi-stories public as well. Okay, you have to make the constructors on both of those public. Okay, so the constructor inside the multi-story inside com.building has to be public. The constructor inside com.building.commercial has to be public. Okay, public there, public there. If we didn't have them public, that means you can't create a multi-story outside of their own package. Okay, now we should be okay there. So com.building multi-story, com.building.commercial.multi-story. So you can see the two multi-stories are being created, or two different multi-stories. Yes? Yeah? So you can't import two classes of the one name. That's what we're just basically saying there. What you have to do is you use the short form, you import one of the classes using the import statement. Okay?
Right. Let's say in multi-story, we have, let's say, another classes. Like,
Another class.
high, low, like, middle, in another.
Well, you wouldn't have a class inside it. And what you'd have inside it is you would go 2-story extends multi-story, 3-story extends multi-story.
Okay, but in another multi-story, we have different classes. Like
Another multi-story, you have classes inside it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different from this one.
Yeah.
So we can import two of this like home buildings and home buildings commercial, and after that, like when we put in like something in main, let's say multi-story, multi-equal new, and we can use like let's say what inside already.
No.
No.
No. Are you saying that if you have a class inside a class, you want to import what's inside a multi-story, another multi-story class? Yes.
Yes.
No.
Because like dog, let's say, let's
No.
see another.
No. Importing is only for importing. You can't import a class inside a class. Okay. You can only import let's say a dog. Inside a dog, you could have a heart class. You could have a lung class.
Yes.
Okay. You can't import from the inner class.
Yes, but we do importing building. And
Yeah, but
commercial.
building is not a class. Building is a package.
I know, but if importing like both packages, like building and commercial,
Yeah.
and in that class both have like multi-story.
Yeah.
So then we putting like multi-story, let's say new building equal this multi-story dot, and let's say what's included in multi-story one of package
Inside.
subclass. Like
Can
remember-
create, right, so let's say subclass was the same as a top level class. You could do that. That's getting very complicated.
Because like if it's allowed to import both like home building and home building commercial and have no issues with that,
Yeah.
so it's not probably it's some point to use them like together, even if they have same classes, just different variables inside like subclasses.
Yeah. That's messy. That's very messy. Okay, I do understand what you're saying, but it's very messy. Okay, there is easier ways of doing this. Messy. Okay, that's kind of going ahead of ourselves. Well, I just want to say when you have two packages, or when you have two classes of the same name, okay, as we've seen in dates, okay, I can't import both of those classes, okay. What you do is you use, for java.utl.date, you use the shortened version, okay. For java.sqldate, you use the fully qualified name. That's called the fully qualified name. So it's all of the package statements and everything before it, name of the class, go new, all of the package statements, name of the class, and the constructor inside the date class takes a big number. Alright? Now, you can create a date, java.util. Is equal to, or my date 2 is equal to new java.util.date 12. Okay, so they're both two qualified names. You can use the qualified name. Alright? Now, when you're making out your own classes, probably take care when you're naming your classes. Alright? It's not such a good idea to have two classes with the same name. Now, you are going to get the situation where if you've got hundreds of classes, you're going to start running out of names. Alright? But always call your class something that means something. Okay? Never call your classes X and Y and Z, because they're shite names. Because they don't mean anything. The only times you use X and Y and Z for the name of the class is if they're coordinates. Alright? If you're dealing in X, Y, and Z is the third dimension then. Okay? So don't name anything class 1 or class 2. Always give it a name that means something to you. Actually, more than means something to you, it should mean something to everybody if you can at all. And if there's any ambiguity about what it means, you need to put an explanation. Let's say you have a class called Connect. Okay? Let's say you have a class called Connect. Now, I know that Connect means it's a class I use to connect up to a database. But you'd need to put in the comment saying, Connect, this is the class we use to connect up to the database. Don't assume that anyone else will know it. Don't assume that you'll know it when you look at your code in 6 months' time. I guarantee you, you look back in code you've done a matter of weeks ago, unless you have a well commented, you won't have a clue. Okay? So comment and pick meaningful names for things. Alright? Don't ever call anything X. Don't ever call anything Y. Don't ever call anything Z. The only time it's permissible in my book to call something X is when you're talking about, X and Y. Is it X along the horizontal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Y is the vertical. Z. And even at that, I'd maybe call it X plane, Y plane, Z plane, or something that means something. Okay? So I'd never call something just X, Y, and Z, because that doesn't mean anything. Okay? Any questions on that?
Just making your
Yeah.
page over page.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you can add it on there equals new page.
Yeah. Equals this guy. It's equal to new date. Now, I even forget how to do them. It's numbers or some shit like you put in it. Okay? But I can't remember. Okay? Now, so that's about importing more than one class of the same name. Okay? Which you are going to come across. Particularly, remember, when you want to have a fag, go have a fag. Right, so yesterday we started on packages. This is section 1.3. Okay, pin working. So it is right, so we've import statements. So this is the top, so this is section 1.3. Okay, so I've got different packages. So com.android, com.building, com.building.commercial, com.building.residential. Okay, so we've got all these files inside there. Okay, I'll export this file for the one or two of you weren't here yesterday, so I'll export it. So I'll do this minute. So export. Next. This is section 1.3 zip. Okay, so I have it exported, so just give it a couple of seconds. Should be exported now. Okay. So, if you want to download this to your machine and get it working, off you go. So, we created this file. It's got com.android, com.building, com.building.commercial, com.building.residential, com.exam. Okay? So, I import it. So, I'm in main. I imported com.building.residential.all. So, that means all. That means I'm going to import everything from the residential package. That means I've access to all of the public and protected variables inside public and inside semi-detached. Okay, so is there anything inside bungalow? There isn't. Is there anything on semi-detached? No, there isn't. Okay, but all that means is that I can create a bungalow and a semi-detached. Okay. Import com.exam.test. That means that's going to import just the test class. Okay, it just imports that there. Now it's in a different package, so that means you have access to only the public variables. So it only has access, so all of these are public, so it has access to all of those. If I have a variable like this, int number is equal to 67. Okay, it will not have access to this variable because that is package level, that is default level access. It won't have access to number. It will have access to all of the public. Okay, if main was a subclass of test, it would also have access to protected variables. Alright, so if you import this class, you'll have access to all of the public. Oh, don't leave us in suspense. Come on.
John Sheldon, please contact reception. John
See you,
Sheldon,
John.
please contact reception. Thank you.
Off we go back to okay. And now, so that means when we import this class in another package, we do not have access to number. Okay, because that is package level access. Does everyone understand that? Okay, you only have access to the public variables. And if main was a subclass of test, if we had any protected variables inside it, we'd also have access to them. Is that okay? Right. Okay, to main. Now, I've import com.exam_test3. I've import com.exam_test2. Now, I've commented those out because I want to show you how, but I will leave them in there. Okay. That's what you often find. What I find better when you're coding something, if you're not using something anymore, don't necessarily delete it. Comment it out because you might want to use it again in the future. Okay. It's just a personal thing. Right. So I will be using test 3 again. I will be using test 2. But at the moment, I haven't imported anything from test 3 or test 2. Now, test 3 contains public statics and public non-statics. Okay? Test 3 contains public statics and public non-statics. test2 contains only statics. Okay, let's go down through all the imports. Now I import com.building.multistory, so that's importing the multi-story class. Now you can see that in com.building and com.building commercial, I have a multi-story in com.building commercial and I have a multi-story in com.building. Okay, if you try to import two classes of the same name, you get an error. Okay, when there are different packages, if you try to import, now for starters, you can't have two classes of the same name in the one package. Alright, just like you can't have two files of the same name and same file extension, same folder. Yes? Everyone understand that? Yeah? Right. So if you have, now you can have two classes of the same name and two different packages, but you can't import them, the two of them. Okay? You can only import one of them. The way around that is you import one of them. So I import the one in the com.building. Okay, and we can see down here, so this is the multi-story from com.building. If I want to use the one in com.building.commercial, what you do is you have to use the fully qualified path name. So com.building.commercial.multistory long multi is equal to new com.building.commercial.multistory. Is everyone okay with that? Yeah? Alright. Now, so I then went down here. Go down to this one here. So I have a file called, I have a class called test. Okay. Now test is in a different package. It's in a com.exam package. Okay. It's in a com.exam package. If we have a look at test, we can see that it's got some static and non-static variables in it. So it's got an int, it's got a num, int num, which is non-static. It's got a myString, which is non-static. It's got a static score, which is -10. It's got a static string, stat string is equal to myStatic string. It's got a non-static method, test method, and it's got a static method called stat method. Okay, so you can see here, these are calling the statics. Now the way you call a static method, the way you should call it, is the name of the class followed by the name of the static. Okay, it can be a static variable or it can be a static method. Okay, together you call them static members. Okay, so a static member can be a method, can be a variable. Now we don't do that much. You can have a static enum. You can also have a static constructor, which is a weird thing, but you can have it. Alright? So when I'm talking about static members, I'm talking about variables and methods. So test.score, that will access -10. Test.statString, that will access my static string. Test.statMethod, it will call that method, which is static test stat method code. Is that okay with everyone so far? Yes? Okay. Now, we've imported the test class. Just remember, we've done it up here. Import com.exam.test. That means we can create a test object. That means we can call the non-static methods. Now, you call a non-static method through an object. So I call this object myTest. So myTest.num, myTest.myString, myTest.testMethod. What those methods look like, myTest.num is going to be 100. myTest.myString is going to be hello there. myTest.testMethod is non-static test method called. Now it does not have access to this here. Okay, I cannot get access to number because it's package level access, and test is in a different folder to main. It's a different package to main, so we do not have access to the number in test. Is that okay with everyone so far? Yeah? Okay. Now, you can access a static method in a non-static way, but it's not recommended. The reason it's not recommended. Alright, so let's say there's a course code for everyone in the class. Okay, so let's say the course code for the Java programming course is 3456. Okay, we'll say that's the course code. Now, so let's just say I'm doing a Java program. Alright, and each one of you are going to be an object, and I'm going to create a class called trainee. Okay, so every trainee is going to have their own ID, their own name, their own test scores, their own age, etc., etc. Okay, but every trainee is going to have the same course ID, which is 3456. All right. Now, the reason, so let's take you, Stefan. Okay, so if I go Stefan dot course code, it would give us 3456. If I go Jason dot course code, it'll give us 3456. Now, I came along with Victor, and I decide to change the course code. Okay, now looking at the code, there's nothing to tell you that that is a static variable. All right, I see Victor dot course code. I just assume that's a normal variable just by looking at it. Okay, there's nothing to tell me that that is a static variable and that is shared by all 16 of you in the class. So there's nothing to stop me from coming along, or Victor coming along and changing the course code. So if Victor changed the course code to 666. It's mark of the devil. Okay, so he changes to 666. That means the course code for everyone is now 666. Okay, that's why I tell you not to access a static variable as if it's a normal variable. You can, but by just looking at the code, it's not immediately apparent that it is a static. So it's too easy for one object to change the static. That means it's changed for everyone. Okay, if Roland comes along and changes the course code, that means the course code is changed for everyone. Hello? How are we doing? Yeah. Wow. Right. Okay, so that's why it's not recommended to access a static variable in a non-static way, because by looking at the code, it's not immediately apparent it's a static. However, if you access the course code by going trainee, which is the name of the class, dot course code, you know that's the name of the class, so you know by looking at the code that that is a static variable. Is that okay, Deborah? So that's why they recommend you don't access the static variable or static method in a non-static way, because it's easy to mistake for an ordinary variable and it's too easy to change. Any other questions on that? Is that okay? Okay. Right, so you can access it, but it's not recommended. Now, I have test 2. Now, test 2 consists of 2 statics. It's got a static variable called test2 int, and has the value of 10 million. Now you can put in, explain what that is. You can put in commas in numbers, but you can put in underscores. Okay, so you can clearly see that that's 10 million. Okay, so it's just got two statics in it. It's got a static variable test2int. It's got a static method test2 stat method. All right. Now I haven't imported test2. Okay, I haven't imported that class. I haven't imported that package. Okay, so that means if I want to call that static method, you can do it like the following. You've got com.exam.test2.test2 stat method. So that's in the com package, in the exam package, in the test2 class. There's a static method called test2.stat method. Okay? Is that okay, everyone? Is that right? Okay. Now, next thing I did, which I just kind of did very, very briefly yesterday, did something called static import. Okay? So it's this guy here. So I'll just write it up here. So what I did was I said import static com dot exam dot test 3 dot, well, I say dot all. That's what that means. All right. Now, what that's doing is this is importing the statics only. Now, when you import the statics only, what that means is the following. So we'll have a look at test 3 first. So the statics in it are statint 3, static in statage 1, 2, 3, static method test 3 stat method. Okay, so it's got 3 static members inside it. It's got a variable, and a method. Is everyone with me so far? Yes? Alright, so it's got 3 it's got more. It's got static, that's a non-static, 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 non-static.
Sorry, if I'm wrong, we didn't do this.
Did we not do test 3?
No.
We pasted that somewhere.
Oh shit. Download the file. I have the file there. Okay, so just maybe quickly download it.
I always you always doing something more.
Yeah, okay. Well, no. Well, that's why the video is good. Okay, because we can always look back. Okay, I have exported it. So maybe just if you haven't got test 3 done, there it is. Okay.
Is it on the share card?
Yep, it is. Or if you want to type it out, but it's just as handy maybe just to download. Give me a minute or two. If you import from a package, it does not import all the sub-packages. It only imports the classes. If you remember that, you'll be fine. So imports only import the classes. It does not import sub-packages. Is that okay, everyone? Similarly, if you go com.employee.wages, if you import that class, or import that package, it will only import the wages package. It will not import the employee package. Is everyone okay with that? Okay. So 45. Now there's something called a class path. Okay. We don't need to know anything about that. Simple as that. It says you should know it, blah blah blah. No, you don't. You don't need to know that shit. Okay? Because every IDE, every sort of any developer worth their salt is going to be using an IDE. What we're using is an IDE, an integrated development environment. You can, if you want to, do all your coding in something like this. Right? You can write it in Notepad.
John Finnegan, please ring extension 211. John Finnegan, please ring extension extension 211.
Yeah, that's better on that.
Isn't there a volume on the wall?
Well, no. Owen's really soft spoken, so he should. Anyway, you can write all of your code in this. I know in certain third level institutions, up until very, very recently, they did all of the coding on this, which is madness. Okay? Absolute madness.
Is there a reason why they did it?
Because they were just awkward pricks. That's the only thing I can use to describe it. They were awkward pricks. Huh?
You're not taking that.
Huh?
You're not taking that.
No. It's crazy.
It's
Dude.
actually only first year probably because my daughter have to use this first year now. She's using Eclipse.
Well, it's bullshit.
But they make Notepad compile.
That doesn't matter. It's bullshit. It's look. I think that it's trying to show their own greatness, how great they are. We can understand something like this that's so complicated. It's not. It's bullshit.
It's not familiar,
Okay. It's absolute bullshit. I'll say it again. It's bullshit that they force you to use Notepad.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's not even beautiful bullshit. It's just horrible, smelly bullshit. Okay.
And what do you think about Notepad Plus?
Don't bother.
But it's allowed to edit any kind of programming like C, C Sharp, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah, but there's plenty of IDEs. For C Sharp, you can download, what you call it, the Microsoft one. Yeah, Visual Studio. Visual Studio is brilliant. Visual Studio is brilliant. I have an LSS better than Eclipse. But why would you? Rubbish.
Studio have one issue. You need to have Windows 10. And most of people don't want to have it.
Do you?
Which one?
Do you need to have Windows 10 first?
Yes. At least Windows 8.1.
Okay, well, I think it's fine anyway. But
I don't know, it's bullshit. But, no, I
it-
Notepad.
so they're saying here, setting the class back to package class. Don't need to know it. That's akin now really to using Notepad. That's akin to you digging up iron ore, smelting the iron ore, making sheet metal to make a car. Right? That's the sort of level they're talking about. It's rubbish.
Maybe they want you just to understand how it all works.
Aren't we understanding how it works?
No, but like when I was in college, we had psychology, we had statistics, and all this shit, like 20 methods. We did it all by hand. Like it took you an hour and a half to do just one of the tasks. And on the second year, they were like, "Oh, this is the program you just."
But you see,
put your numbers in, and it calculates in.
I've nearly said that's different to this. Alright? We're learning how to Java program, so we're learning all the things. And psychology, you're learning all the basics. We are learning all the basics of it. If you're using Notepad, there's loads of other shit that you need to consider that's got nothing to do with Java at all. Really, in essence. Right? And I refuse to believe it's a good idea. It is not a good idea. All it does is, there's a high dropout rate in computer science courses. That's why. Because they always insist on doing this bullshit first. And a lot of it is just showing them how great we are. We aren't we so smart doing something so complicated. No, it's not. It's fucking stupid. Right? So, I'm a real bugbear with it. And then they wonder why so many people are dropping out. That's why they're dropping out. Because you insist to do all this crap. Right? Anyway, that's rant over. So, using simple names with the import statement. When you import something, that means you can create. So if I import the dog class, I then can go dog spot is equal to new dog. Okay? If it wasn't in the same package, let's say it was in com.animal, you'd have to go com.animal.dog spot is equal to new com.animal.dog. Okay, so if you don't use imports, you have to use the fully qualified name. Okay, so this is what they call the simple name. Okay, that's the term for it. So the simple name is just shorthand for it. Okay, dog spot rather than com.animal.dog spot is equal to new.com.animal.dog. Everyone okay with that? Okay, so that's what imports allow you to do. Rather than having to do that every time for creating a dog, if you're a different package, if you import com.animal.dog or com.animal.all, you're able to create all the animals. Is everyone okay with that? Okay.
How to understand is like what's stated around house and office, like cubicle and conference hall can use each other without specifying that
I don't know, I never read it.
they are part of office.
I don't know.
Like anyway, you're supposed to import or specify what's in office. And
Well, right. So you can say, right, you're basically telling us, right, all of these lads are in the office. So you can say cubicle and conference hall. Or you can say in the office, in the cubicle. In the office, in the conference hall. That's what they're on. Okay? So you can either say, right, these lads are in the office. What's in the office? Cubicle and conference hall. Or you can say, in the office, there's a cubicle. In the office, there's a conference hall.
without specifying what they in office.
Well, you know, but you specify at the very top. You say that all of these are to do with the office. Okay? Or you can specify this is a cubicle in the office, this is a conference hall in the office. Or you can specify these are all in the office, what's in it, cubicle and conference hall. That's what they're talking about. It's just semantics. Alright? So, next page. I don't really care about all of that. So you can, as I go here at the end of the next page, home.living room. Okay, that's the fully qualified name. Okay, you can use the fully qualified name, or you can import home.living room. Okay, now that's importing the class. If you want to import everything from home, you would go import home.star exclamation mark. Okay, that will import everything from the home package. Now, when you have a class, the last thing there, you can't put a dot star at the end of it. Okay, because that's importing everything inside the living room class. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so dot star can only be used with packages. It can't be used with classes. Okay, it's common enough question they'll ask you in the exam. There's nearly always one of those questions in the exam. Alright, they'll use dot all with the class. You can't use dot all with the class. Use dot all with a package, which makes sense. Okay. Now, using package classes without using the import statement, as I've already said, you have to use the fully qualified name like so. Okay, you have to use the fully qualified name like so. Let's go down the screen. Now you can see here we have two different dates, which I've already shown you. One is to do with databases. Okay, the other one is this is the old way of creating dates. Alright. Now if I go to import those two classes, you can't import those two classes because they're both the same name. They're both called date. So what you would usually do is you'll import the one you use most often. Okay? You'd import the one you use most often, and then the one you use only every now and again, you'll write the full name like so. Now, you will be using that one. You will be using that date. Okay?
SQL we use more.
Yeah. Okay, we will be using that. Okay? Now, java.utl.date. Now, personally, you're better off using the current version of dates. Alright? It's no doubt about it. It's way easier than those. However, if you're using code that was developed before Java 8, you might be required to use that instead. Do you understand what I'm saying? To make it compatible, you might have a method that's looking for a date. looking for that date, not looking for a local date, for instance. Okay, so you'd have to define variables like that. All right.
Is it possible to convert like from Java 7 to Java 8?
You mean convert the code?
Yes.
There'd be no
Like
magic.
automatically.
There'd be no magic tool that could do it because there's so many variables there. So there wouldn't be a magic tool, but there would be tools that would do some of the work, but not all of the work. And you wouldn't want to be relying on it either because you're not 100% sure. Did it do that? Did it fix the code like it should?
And opposite way from Java 8 to Java 7.
Again, you wouldn't want to be totally reliant on it. Okay? It's easier to go from 8 to 7. Well, Java 8 and Java 7 isn't a problem. The problem is Java 11, which is kind of totally different. So from Java 8 to Java 11 is an issue. Java 7 to Java 11 is an awful issue. There wouldn't be a magic tool that do. There's tools that can do most of the things, but you wouldn't want to be relying on them. You're not 100% too sure. Okay. So we will be using this one. Now, if you're developing from scratch, if you're doing code, starting off your application, then you've no need to use that. I wouldn't use those. I'd use local data instead. All right. But if you're using old code, or let's say you have a method that takes, you're using a method from some other application, and it takes that type of data, well, then you have to use that type of data. You understand that? Okay. Scroll down the screen. And so that's what they're talking about here. You can see the import java.utl.date, and so that means that refers to that type of date, and that's going to be SQL date. Now, it's flipped on its head. We'll be using that, and we'll try not to use that at all if we can. Is that okay? Now, you can import a single class, as we've already done, like we have here. Import certification.exam question. That's importing just one class, or we can import all classes. Okay? Now, you're using all, you use all with a package. You don't use all with a class. Okay? And as I've already said here, the import statement doesn't import the whole package tree. And that means it doesn't import subpackages. Okay? Import only imports classes. It does not import subpackages. Okay? Let's go down the screen. Now, you can't import from the default package. Alright? As I've already said, if you don't have a package, and you have, let's say you have something in your default package, let's say we have dog and cat, and inside com.building we have bungalow and we have skyscraper. Now, dog and cat can import from this class. So dog does have access to bungalow and skyscraper. Cat does have access to bungalow and skyscraper. Alright? Now, the other way around doesn't work. Because dog is not in a package. Because cat is not in a package. Bungalow has no access to dog. Skyscraper has no access to dog because we can't import dog because it's not in a package. We can't import cat because it's not in the package. Okay? You can only import something if it's already in a package. Okay? So you can't import from the default package. So that's the two reasons, the two main reasons for packages. First reason is for splitting up your, putting everything together. All the employee stuff together, all the building stuff together, all the wages stuff together. Okay? The other reason is with importing. If you don't have packages, you can't import. Okay? Scroll down the screen. It says there, members of name packages can't access class and interfaces defined in the default package, which is exactly what I said. Now, statics, when you import statics, that means you can only access the statics. Now, when you're importing statics, remember that we can only then use those statics by using the short form. Okay, so import static certification exam question. So there's a static called marks. There's a static called print. You don't use the name of the class followed by the name of the static. That does not work. If you have an import static, you just have the name of the variable. Now, whereas import statics are great and everything, don't overuse them. Okay? The reason you shouldn't overuse them is you could, let's say if you have 20 different classes and you've imported all the statics from 20 different classes. One of those classes could be to do with calculating your wages. Another one could be to distance travelled. Now, some of these statics might have unusual names, and you're going to be looking, thinking, what are those methods? What do they do? Okay, so statics are fine. Do not overuse them. Okay, as it says here, on real projects, avoid using static import. Otherwise, the code might become a bit confusing. Because marks is a static, print is a static. Alright? You would, in your code, you always should put a comment saying this is a static variable from a certain class. If you don't do that, you might think that marks is an ordinary variable from this particular class. It might think that print is an ordinary method from this particular class, and it's not. So if you are using a static import and you're using the static methods in your code, make sure your mark said this is a static method from the dog class. This is a static method from calculate wages class. Is that okay, everyone? And as I said, you can't overcomment. Now, so that is section 1.3 finished. Okay, so just give me a second. I'm going to stop this recording.